saw about a 7-foot alligator coming over. I don't think he was too happy to see me. Really good to get out of the house. I haven't been anywhere the last 12 months except the doctor's office and Walmart. Well, we're going in. These are periwinkles. That was my dad's favorite flower. He said they grew for free. Didn't require. I wonder what type of butterfly that is. Thought there might be a way to get over there and do some camping on the sly. Someplace shady by the water. A person could launch their kayak here, assuming they didn't have any alligator friends, and go out over there amongst those pine trees. Let's walk down there a little bit and see what we see. This is peppergrass, and this is Spanish needle, or Biden's something. It's supposed to be easy to, or good to eat. We shall ascend a levee. Or maybe not. It's nice to look out over the prairie of sawgrass and not see anything. Got sawgrass, cattails, willow, some ferns. There's a big clump of plants over there on some high ground. I wonder what's over there. If you had the time or money, it'd be fun to go out in Everglades and research the places the Indians from hundreds of years ago lived. The Ayas Indians and the other ones before anybody was here. Let's see what they left. Help get an idea what they were doing back then. I also imagine if they came across any shipwrecks, they would have gobbled up any of the metal and the gold and the silver and whatever, kept it. But the little things that they made would be just as interesting. There's some bogs up in north central Florida where they found remains of people over 10,000 years ago, even older. Some people say the remains predate the Native American Indian. They think it might be from places other than Asia. There have been some European style implements found in strata that is too old for them to be there. Nobody knows why or how they got there. Some of the little islands out in the lagoons and bays of South and Central Florida, you can find remnants of tools and things that people built when the Indians were here thousands of years ago. Fossilized bones of animals that don't exist anymore. The thing about Florida is everybody thinks history began when they arrived. There are so many things going on long before that we're ignorant of. I was reading a map from the 1950s of Miami, and not far from where I was, it said the seaplane base for the military. And I went over there, were just homes there, but on that map, I guess in the 40s, there was a seaplane base there for the military. Now it's just homes from people who came 30 years ago and think that they're the pioneers. There's those pines. Usually the pines kind of crowd out any other vegetation and make some breathing room for people. Those are Australian pines. I could get my little kayak and come in over there, paddle over here, and have the pleasant sound of the highway lull me to sleep. And unfortunately, the land's low over there. You can't see the Everglades. You'd be down kind of low. You just see this water and this grass here and this levee. You can still see the horizon though, where there's nothing but blue sky, which ain't bad thing to see. I always like those Australian pines. People hate them. They cut them down. They say they're invasive species. I don't know. Their wood is pretty amazing. Once it dries up, it's hard as a rock. And they get real tall, and the tips of the branches are feathery, so when the wind blows, they have this real soft, audible sigh. It's just a whispering to you. It makes a wonderful subsonic noise. You can barely hear it. It's a pleasant thing. But the needles do crowd out the other native vegetation. On the islands out in the bay, they tear those trees down. They say they cause erosion. I always was told trees hold the roots hold the soil, but they said no, these things cause erosion of the soil on the bay and the islands. And I think what happens is their root system isn't too big, so when hurricanes come, they turn over and then they pull up all the dirt and stuff on the shoreline. Maybe that's what they're talking about. But in the meantime, you have shade on the island at mostly brutal sun 9 months of the year. And the Australian pines is an invasive species I can live with. That Everglades looks pretty. My favorite painters are those HoHem painters that spent 20 years just painting very simple Everglade pastoral scenes, old Florida scenes. The basic colors, the blue, the greens, the orange, the brown, white. You don't have a lot of edible plants out here in South Florida like you do in other parts of the country that are growing wild. Well, Yule Gibbons came down here to South Florida. He had a hard time of it trying to find stuff he could eat. A lot of the stuff wants to kill you, or scratch you, or burn you, or poison you, or give you a rash, make you see funny. There's not too many things growing that wild that you can nibble on down here in South Florida. And there's more than a few that'll put you in the hospital. This camera is supposed to have a function that will record from the back, but it's so bright outside I can't see it. So this is what I look like. We'll go on back. Y'all can see what I'm seeing while I'm jabbering here away from you. I've taken my bike out here a couple times. I wanted to put a sail on the bike so when the wind was nice I could just go down one way and pedal back. Or if the wind was from the side, it might be well enough to go on a beam reach and just go back and forth across the wind. But I never got around to it. I should do it because there's nobody out here to see me fail. The stuff I have at the apartment, I'd take outside, people staring out on their balcony and taking pictures and jabbering. You never know if somebody's going to be complaining. There's nobody out here to see me fall on my head, or the alligators get me. A couple more months, won't be able to come out here at 12:30 in the afternoon. That's going to be brutal. Of course, you get the nice thunderstorms. That's one nice thing about living in South Florida. You got wonderful thunderstorms, electrical lightning storms. Every afternoon to cool things down. Of course, if you have a leaky roof, it's not so fun. Thank the Lord I don't have a leaky roof anymore. Knock on wood. Yeah, that's pretty out there. I've gone almost all the way to the bend. If you keep going down that way, there's a little airboat place, and the native Indians have and stuff for the tourists. But if you never had an airboat ride, they're worth it. They're fun. Just to get out in the Everglades and just look everywhere around you and just see the horizon after being in Miami or South Florida. Because South Florida, Dade, Monroe, Broward, Palm Beach is very urban. Millions of people. Hard to believe. Like just not that many years ago, there was hardly anybody down here. My dad's family came in 1919 before air conditioning, but that was after the railroad, so you're not a pioneer if you came after the railroad. But yeah, they didn't have air conditioning. My mom's dad I never met. My dad's mom, my grandmother on my father's side I never met, but she was into real estate. And they owned a lot of property, and then when the crash came, they didn't own anything. You couldn't pay the taxes. My dad would say you could buy a big lot on the bay for $500, and I said, why didn't you buy one? He said, well, who had $500? That was a lot of money back then. Yeah. But I think about all these people, where they came from, and like, when the hell are they going to go back? Like, I'm here, they should leave, you know? Like, no, they're going to keep coming. They've been coming for decade after decade after decade after decade, year after year. And everybody's the same, just like we were. When you come, you think it all starts with you. But there was people before you, things before you didn't even know about. I'm glad there's still a little bit of Everglades left. Hope it always will be there. It really is good for the soul to get out in nature, to get away. even though you can hear the highway behind me. But in the summertime, you'll be able to see them storm clouds come in and roll across the grass. Lightning, the cool breeze pop up. Smell the ozone. Wait for the lightning to hit. Those big old raindrops come down like marbles. Got to get a little boat I can put on in the car and just hump over that hill over there and take over to the canal and go out into the glades, spend some time early in the morning or late in the evening when there's no mosquitoes. Yeah. I was over at John U. Lloyd the other day, and well, it was been a few months, not the other day, but those mosquitoes are rough. Nowadays, they got so many diseases with the mosquitoes. Years ago, when I was a kid, you hardly had to worry about them. Now you got West Nile virus and dengue fever and this and that, and it's rough. Well, I'm going to call it quits. The sun's so bright I can't even tell if it's still recording. Today is March 1st, 2021. Out here in the Everglades. Hope y'all having a good day. You can see them out there. There's alligator. Oh, Mr. Alligator. Right out there. In the middle. Poke salad Annie. Gator got your granny. Chomp, chomp.